All right, this is the second worksheet on the ionic compounds. Okay, the first one, which should have been number 24, I think it got cut off for some reason, but it said write the formulas for the compounds, and you started out with Ba and S, and we have to write the formula. So we're going to take Ba, which has a +2, and we have sulfur, which has a -2. So if you notice, those two charges cancel each other. So again, like the one where you had MgO on the other worksheet, this one we would just leave as BaS. You could crisscross it, but you're going to need to reduce it by dividing both of them by 2, and you'd end up with BaS. Second one, letter B, you got Li and O. Well, Li is a +1 from the periodic table. Oxygen is -2. Crisscross those two, we're going to get Li2O. Right? And the 1 goes over here, but remember we leave the 1 blank. All right, so it's those two. Next one, we got Ca and N. Ca is +2, N is -3. Those do not cancel each other. So we're going to bring the 3 over here, and the 2 goes there, and we get Ca3N2. Last one on this one, we got Cu. He's in the middle, so he's a +2. And then we got iodine. He's a -1. Those don't cancel each other, so crisscross it, so we get Cui2 is your answer. All right. Now we go to the next one. They're going to give us a name, and we got to come up with a formula. So the first one, that says sodium iodide. So sodium is Na. That's a +1. Then we got iodide. It ends in ide, so therefore it is the element iodine. He's a -1, based on where he's at on the periodic table. So those two charges cancel each other, so I get NaI as my formula. Letter B, we got tin is Sn. He happens to be in the plus or -4, but notice he's first. Because he's first, always the one that's always first happens to be the positive. So therefore we know he's not the -4, he's the +4 form. Then we got chloride. Because it's ide, it's the element chlorine, Cl, that's a -1. Those charges don't cancel each other, so we're going to crisscross it. We're going to put the 4 over here, and the 1 goes there, and we get SnCl4. All right, on to the next two. Potassium sulfide. Potassium is K. He's a +1 from the periodic table. Then we got sulfide, that's sulfur, that's a -2. Those don't cancel each other, so we're going to crisscross it. We get K2S1 or K2S. And then the last one is calcium iodide. Calcium is Ca, that's a +2. Iodide is the element iodine, and that's a -1. Crisscross that, we get Cai2. All right, now we got to write names. Number 26, write the name for Zn, and S. Well, the first element is zinc. Second one is sulfur. It's from the periodic table, so we change it to sulfide. So the name becomes zinc sulfide. Letter B, we got KCl. First element's potassium. Second one is chlorine. It's ene, so we change it to ide. So the name becomes potassium chloride. Third one is BaO. First one's barium. Second one is oxygen. Ends in N, so therefore we change it to ide. So the name is barium oxide. Last one in number 26 is CuBr2. So the first element's copper. Second one's bromine. It ends in ene, so we change it to ide, so the name becomes copper bromide. All right, on number 27, write the names again. First one, we got CaO. First element is calcium. The second element is oxygen. Because it ends in N, we change it to ide, so it becomes calcium oxide. Calcium oxide. Letter B, you got Cu2Se. First element's copper. Second one is selenium. It ends in so it changes to ide. So this becomes copper selenide. Copper selenide. Letter C, FeS. Fe is iron. S is sulfur. Well, it ends in so it's not. So we change it to ide. So it becomes iron sulfide. Letter D, AlF3. Al is aluminum. F is fluorine. Ends in ene, so we change it to ide. So this becomes aluminum fluoride. Aluminum fluoride. All right, number 28, we got to combine these guys. So we're going to write these formulas. All right, Alright, so we have NH4, that's a +1 from the polyatomic ion chart, and then we have SO3, that's a -2. That also is from the polyatomic ion chart. So those charges do not cancel each other, so we got to crisscross them. So I'm going to put this guy in parentheses because we need 2 of him, and then 1 goes over here. I won't have to put it in parentheses because I only need 1 of him, so that would be my formula for that. Next one, letter B, we got a calcium ion. That's Ca, that's +2 from the periodic table. Then we have a phosphate. It ends in 8, so it comes from the polyatomic ion chart. So that's going to be PO4, and that's a -3. Those charges don't cancel, so we got to crisscross them. 3 is going to go over here, the 2 is going to go over here, but we got to put this in parentheses and make it 2. So it's Ca3, PO4, 2 times. All right, let me flip my page. Next one, we got Al and NO3. So it's going to come from page 147. So we got aluminum is +3. And then we got NO3. That's a -1. So, and I even gave you the charges on this one, so we're going to crisscross that. The 1 comes over here, leave it blank. The 3 goes over here, so we got to put that in parentheses and put a 3. All right. Then we go to the last one in this one. Potassium ion, that's K. That's a +1. And then we have chrome 8. Chrome 8 ends in 8, so we got to go to that chart, polyatomic ion chart. And chromate is CrO4, and that's a -2. So we're going to crisscross those charges. We're going to bring the 2 over here. The 1 goes over there. Leave it blank. So it becomes K2CrO4. All right, we only got a few more. Time math. Okay. Making sure I don't run out of time. We have to make a part 2. All right, lithium hydrogen sulfate. Oh my word, there's 3 names in there. Oh, but actually, if you look at this chart thing, and I just ran out of daylight, so let me go turn on my lights again. All right, if you look at this chart on here, you'll notice that there is one that's called hydrogen sulfate. So we have lithium, Li, he's a +1. And then we have hydrogen sulfate. Comes right off of that polyatomic ion. It's HSO4. And that's actually at -1. So those 2 charges cancel each other, so it's just going to stay that way. LiHSO4 is the formula. Second one, we got chromium 3. Cr is chromium. The 3 means he's got a +3. Now we got nitrite. It ends in ite. So it comes from the polyatomic ion chart. Ite, whoops, I was thinking that. NO2, that's a -1. It's an ite, not an 8. So it's ite, NO2, -1. Those charges don't cancel, so the 1 comes over here, leave it blank. Then we put this one in parentheses and put a 3. And that's my answer, Cr, NO2 3 times. All right, I'll erase these guys. So we got our next 2. All right, next one, mercury 2. Mercury is Hg. It's got a 2, so it's +2. Then we got bromide. Oh, it ends in ide, so that's the element bromine. And gives a -1. Now, this did not come from the polyatomic ion chart. It came from the periodic table. So those 2 don't cancel each other, so we got to bring 2 over here, take the 1 there, leave it blank. So it's HgBr2. All right, last one, this one, ammonium dichromate. Ammonium is NH4 +1. That's from page 147, that polyatomic ion chart. And then we have dichromate, Cr2O7. And that's a -2 from that polyatomic ion chart. Crisscross those charges, so we got to put this guy in parentheses and go 2. So it's NH4, 2, Cr2O7. All right, then we got to name these. It says ternary ion composite. Ternary just means 3. So it means all these are going to have 3 elements in there. Doesn't mean anything different, just means you gotta look at that polyatomic ion chart. You gotta look at this chart in order to get a name. So the first one there, we got A is CaC2O4. Well, the first element is calcium. And then the second one, C2O4, from the chart is oxalate. So the name of this is calcium oxalate. Letter B, we got KClO. So the first element is potassium. The second one, ClO, comes from that chart again, comes from this, and it is hypochlorite. So it's potassium hypochlorite. I know you may be thinking right now, going, how am I ever supposed to remember all these names? You don't have to remember any of the names. You always get to use this chart. You always get to use your periodic table chart. Okay? It's the idea of being able to use those charts is what I want you to be able to do. Okay? All right, letter C, KMnO4. K is potassium. MnO4 is permanganate from the chart. So it's potassium permanganate. It's purple stuff. Letter D, Li2SO3. Li is lithium. SO3 is sulfite. So this is lithium sulfite. All right, last question. Name these guys. You got Al is aluminum. And then you got OH 3 times. OH is hydroxide. So this is aluminum hydroxide for the first one, number 31. Letter B in 31. NaClO3. Na is sodium. ClO3 is chlorate from the chart. So it's sodium chlorate. Sodium chlorate. Letter C, SN3PO4 2. SN is tin. PO4 is phosphate. So this is tin phosphate. Tin phosphate. And the last one, Na2CrO4. Na is sodium. CrO4 is chromate. So this last one is sodium chromate. And that concludes that piece. So we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.